To the Minister of Finance, does he believe the tax system is fair for all New Zealanders?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the tax system is certainly fairer than the one we inherited from the previous government, although there is always room for improvement. For instance, we've brought in changes which increase the effective tax rate on investment property, which was not being taxed under the previous Labor government, netting just short of $1 billion of extra tax per year, closed loopholes that allowed well-off families to claim social assistance.
Point of order,
they shouldn't have got.
Stuart Nash.
Mr Speaker, it's a primary question. I said, is it fair for all New Zealanders,
The
not
member
fairer?
the member makes a reasonable point that the question asked whether it was fair, and that it didn't ask why, so I think we've had sufficient answer. Stuart Nash.
Supplementary. Mr Speaker, was the government's own tax working group wrong when they said, quote, a large component of economic income is not taxed, capital gains?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, they were stating a fact, and you'll note that the tax working group came to the conclusion that they did not recommend implementing a capital gains tax, and they certainly would not have backed the messy, complex, high spending, high tax, high borrowing
Point
package.
of order, Stuart Nash.
All I asked, Mr Speaker, was the government's tax working group wrong? And he said, no, they weren't wrong. So I don't need a further explanation.
There's a point of order being considered and there's merit in the point being made. Questions are to be answered without further embellishment according to the standing orders. And the more brief the question, the less political the question, the less room for embellishment in the answer. Stuart Nash.
Supplementary to the Minister. Was the government's own tax working group wrong when they said, quote, there is a fairness and equity arguments that can be mounted in favour of a capital gains tax?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, I haven't actually seen that quote, but they may well have said that. Making tax policy is always a trade-off between fairness, efficiency and complexity. And unfortunately, the Labor Party's package loses on all three.
Point of order, Stuart Nash.
I think you know what my point of order is going to be.
The Minister has sat down already. The supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
Was the government's own tax working group wrong when they said, quote, a capital gains tax is generally said to support the integrity of the tax system by reducing opportunities for tax planning and tax avoidance?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, they may have said that, but they clearly lacked the certainty of their convictions because they recommended, they could not come to agreement about capital gains tax and did not recommend implementing one despite the arguments that they raised for it.
Point of order has been raised. I realise what the member's going to make on this occasion, but I believe that it would be unreasonable to say the Minister can only say yes or no, because to give some context that is helpful to making sure the answer is meaningful is not outside standing orders. And that, on this occasion, I believe that's what the Minister was doing. And that was not unreasonable. It was not superfluous embellishment. It was not attacking the opposition. It was just pointing out the fact that while they may have expressed that view, they didn't carry it through into their recommendations. And that's perfectly valid context to put around an answer. Point of order, the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Speaker, I seek leave to table the tax working group report, given it may be assistance.
Order.
He hasn't read it, obviously.
All members have that working group report. Stuart Nash, supplementary question.
To the Minister, is it really fair that a working person who earns $50,000 a year and pays around $8,000 in income tax, while a person who sells an investment property for a $50,000 profit does not pay any tax on that income?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, that may well not be correct because there's quite a number of people who trade an investment property. But if the member's trying to make a general point about fairness, there was nothing fair about the Labor Party's tax system.
The Minister has no responsibility for the Labor Party's tax system. Point of order, the Honourable Craig Foss.
Mr Speaker, I seek leave to table a statement on the fairness of Labour's GST proposal from Heinz Watty, which states it would discriminate against local producers.
What's the source of this statement?
The source of this statement, Mr Speaker, is an article in Hawke's Bay today.
We don't seek leave to table current newspaper articles. Question number 11, Kanwaljit Singh.